Welcome to the Wired for Success podcast, your show for ambitious, mission-driven entrepreneurs who understand that there's more to entrepreneurship than finding the latest flash-in-the-pan strategies, who understand that in order to build your empire, you need a solid foundation. I wholeheartedly believe that entrepreneurship is the biggest self-development journey you can be on, and it's my mission to help you make that journey easier. I help you transition from a struggling, overwhelmed, and overworked entrepreneur to the relaxed and confident CEO and conscious creator of your dream life that you are meant to be. In this show, I bring together the very best from science, self-development, and entrepreneurship to set you up for sustainable success. I share my own experiences and knowledge as a molecular biologist and mindset coach for high-achieving entrepreneurs, and I interview other top scientists, coaches, and entrepreneurs so that you can get all the expert tips and strategies to help you trust yourself more, worry less, make better decisions, be more productive, stay focused and organized, and build your legacy. Hi, I'm Claudia Garbutt, the scientist and mindset coach behind the show, and you're listening to the Wired for Success podcast. Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Wired for Success podcast. Today, I have the pleasure of talking with entrepreneur, author, nonprofit technology executive, coach, and consultant, Mark S. Lewis. Mark coordinates Louisana's largest annual IT symposium specifically for IT personnel, and he was chosen by the Chamber as the Rising Tide Small Business of the Year in Technology and received the Marshall Klein Louisana Entrepreneur of the Year Award in 2019. I've invited Mark because of his give a damn attitude that I think is so powerful for everyone to adopt, especially in challenging times like the one we're going through right now. So welcome, Mark, and thank you so much for taking the time to be here on my show today.
Claudia, you're terrific to have me, and I'm honored to be in your show. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Mark, could you tell us a little bit about your personal journey as an entrepreneur? Because I know that you got a degree in finance and that you've worked for IBM for, I think, 13 years or something. So what happened in your life that made you change direction and start something new?
Well, I always wanted to work for a big company to get experience. My dad taught me that. I've always been kind of an entrepreneur. Even when I was growing up, I had my own paper route. I had my own grass cutting business. I had a Christmas card business. So I started at a very early age through the direction of my dad. So I got my degree in finance and marketing, and I came to New Orleans, and I got my MBA at Tulane, and then I worked for IBM for 13 years, not 30. I'd probably be a lot older than that, that's okay. And then
30. Sorry.
That's okay. So I knew I wanted to leave after 2 or 3 years, but IBM was so good to me, and I did so well there, and the money was good. I stayed for 13 years, but then I got that itch, and I decided to leave, and I started. I actually went to work for an entrepreneurial company. It was run by somebody else, but it just didn't work out. And then I got lucky in 1994. Somebody brought this idea called the internet to me. And I said, well, golly, I got nothing to do. So I wrote a business plan. I financed equipment through my credit card. And the next thing you know, I'm in internet business with 2 other guys. That was pretty successful. We sold that after a couple of years. And then I went into the consulting and marketing business. And I merged that business with 2 other businesses. And then we sold that 6 months later, but then I worked for a nonprofit. I really wanted to get back to the technology industry because that was where my interest was. And Louisiana was 49th out of 50 states in technology. And so I knew we had nowhere to go but up, right? So I created this plan. I got everybody engaged. I created this special brand that I took to market. It was called Louisiana Tech Capital of the South. And everybody thought I was like, you're crazy. It's tourism. It's food, it's oil and gas, and people didn't believe me, but it gave me a lot of reason to prove them wrong. Mm-hmm. So after 10 years, we went from 49th out of 50 states to 32nd. We grew the industry, but I needed to get back into the technology industry or in the entrepreneurial world. And I left, and then I went into consulting, and now that's what I do. I moderate CEO roundtables specifically to help young entrepreneurs, CEOs, to engage in strategies and initiatives that can help with their growth and even help accelerate their growth. And that's kind of what I do now. And the Give a Damn book that I wrote was just a compliment to what I bring to CEOs to help them grow.
I love that. And I love this entrepreneurial spirit. It seems like you didn't encounter a lot of blocks that stopped you from going from being an employee to being an entrepreneur. Or would you say that was a bit of a stumbling block in your way when you just started out, something that held you back that you needed to overcome, or were you just good from the start?
Well, we all have stumbling blocks, and there was always a fear when when you're comfortable with something and trying to make that change. There's that fear of change and how it's going to go about. But I always had this back in my attitude, and I learned this from Brian Tracy. He wrote The Psychology of Achievement. And he said, you can do anything you set your mind to. Mm-hmm. You're going to have challenges, but those challenges are learning experiences that can take you to the next level. So when I left IBM, well, I had a fear. I was comfortable. I was getting paid well. Mm-hmm. I had this itch. And so I made the leap of faith, knowing what I could do and the success I had with IBM. I could transfer that success to being an entrepreneur. I had a big challenge because the first entry that I went into, I was there for 2 months. The next thing I know, I'm out of job. Didn't go well. We conflicted, and the owner eventually exited. The business went out of business. But I had to make the next leap of faith. So I made that leap of faith, and everything worked out. So everybody's going to have challenges in life. The fear is to overcome that challenge and having faith in yourself that you can do it. Have that in your mind. I can do it. I can do it. And that really sets the stage to continue to go forward and overcome challenges as you go on. Because everybody's going to have it.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And I like what you said about the challenges and how they, you start with one challenge, you overcome it, and you get to another one, because that's just the way it is as you go along on your entrepreneurial journey, right? So what's the biggest challenge you're facing in your business or your life right now?
Well, I never, people talk about problems. There's no such thing as a problem. Mm-hmm. It's always a challenge. When you say you have a challenge, it means you do something to overcome it. When you have a problem, you start worrying, and okay, what am I going to do to help get through this challenge or problem? I never use the word problem. It's always a challenge, because then you can put things together that can overcome that challenge to get to the next level. I guess, we have these challenges all the time. And one of the challenges I have is balancing what I want to do with work and what I want to do with family. And it's really important that you can't separate the two, because I believe family comes first. And then you do what you can to help support that family and to make it grow. At the same time, you adjust your time to do some work. So I always say there's no such thing as a work-life balance, in my opinion, because there's going to be times where you just kind of have to put 100% of your time into work because you need to get to that next stage, to get to that next level, and you need help by doing that. And then there's going to be a situation where family becomes first. So there's no such thing as work-life balance. You just have to adjust to make ends meet and to get to the next level. So I like that term work-life balance, because sometimes you got to be 100% work and sometimes you got to be 100% family.
Yeah, it probably always comes down to adjusting the priorities at the moment, looking at what's important right now, and then making sure this gets done, right?
That's a great point. Yes, you have to adjust based on the time, the situation, the people involved. And again, family comes first, I think, because without your family, you can't have that work. But yes, that's a great point, Claudia.
Yeah, I mean, after all, you're doing it for your family in most cases. So you have to put them first. Otherwise, you end up losing them. That's not what you wanted.
And I'll make a point on that, Claudia, is that happened to me. very early on in my career. I was married. I put a lot of time and effort. Now, there's a lot of other things that go into the situation, but I think that actually hurt my relationship, and eventually it caused my ex-wife, and I, we divorced, right? And so that was a painful time in period, and I had 3 kids at the time. And sometimes you just have to move on. There was a lot of other circumstances involved with that, but I think that contributed to the work life, and I learned a valuable lesson. Now I got married about 7 years ago, remarried. I have a terrific wife. She's very supportive. I'm very supportive. You know, as you get older, you learn from your shared experiences, right? From others, and then that helps in the quality of life.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad it all worked out for you. But that's what I see happening a lot, that entrepreneurs, they get so wrapped up in the daily chores, the stuff they have to do, and then the relationships suffer or their health suffers. And that's what I try to help them avoid. So it's always a good thing if we can if we can set our priorities right so that it doesn't come to something like that.
You know, Claudia, you make a good point, and it's really all about communication, because sometimes we have a fear of communicating to someone we love, or to somebody, with the fear that we might hurt them, or that we get defensive, or we could put them on the defensive. I learned that early on. It's very difficult sometimes to be open. I'm part of Entrepreneurs Organization of Louisiana, and we do what we call a deep dive into personal and business things, things that you wouldn't share with people. But you need to do that as hard as it can be, because when you open up the communication avenues, whether it's business or personal, you can really hone in on challenges that you may never know existed until you open up and tell people how you feel. When you tell people how you feel, it's much better than saying you did this. Instead of saying, you know, I really got hurt by such and such. You're not criticizing, but you're just telling people how you feel. I learned that as a valuable lesson.
Absolutely. Now, you recently published your book, Give a Damn, The Ticket to Cultural Change. So for everyone who hasn't read your book yet, can you explain your Give a Damn philosophy and tell us how it can make a difference both professionally and personally?
Well, I could spend an hour talking to you about this, but I won't. You know, what happened, if you told me 10 years ago, Claudia, that I was going to write a book, I would say, you're absolutely crazy. I'm a business guy. I'm not a writer. I never took English. I did public speaking and all that, but I don't know how to write. But I learned through what I observed in people and how they were acting. And I looked at that, I'm going, really? You really did that? I can't believe. And I see all these circumstances. And what I found was, and I dictated stuff over and over again. And next thing I know, I had 60 pages of typewritten text because I transcribed it onto paper. And then I learned from people is that we've really become very self-centered as a society. It's become a me society. It's not just in New Orleans, it's everywhere. And there are a lot of factors that have contributed to this self-serving society. And those factors, government's part of it. Technology is huge because we don't communicate like we did 40, 50 years ago, where we're face to face. We text message, we send emails. There's a lot of communication that gets lost when you're talking to somebody, nonverbal communication. And then the wealth gap, and then there's special interest groups, and family values, and the media, the social media, all contributed to a lack of communication, and B, we sensationalize things and the bad behavior. Now, 40 or 50 years ago, we watched these shows like Brady Bunch, or the Andy Griffith Show, or Captain Kangaroo, or Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. These all taught a message. The messages that we're hearing on TV or media today are not good. They're teaching ugly stuff, is what I call it. And we don't have that moral respect, accountability, and messages that are morally important for us to grow as a society. So I just got fed up with what I was seeing, and I decided to write this book because I need to help people change their mindset. That mindset is we need to learn about what we can do for others, and by doing things for others, it helps ourselves But people get it reversed. They say, oh, I got to do this with the expectation to get something in return. And that's a huge no-no.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love that message. Now, I'm curious how you have implemented this give a damn philosophy into your own business and how you have helped others to do the same in their businesses.
Well, I moderate CEO roundtables, and the message I give to them, especially when it comes to their employees, and there's a huge message that I learned this not for myself, but a lady who was in my roundtable said this: if you take care of your employees first and give them everything they need and the tools, then they will take care of your customers.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really important message. So I, as an individual, and preach that, hey, take care of your employees, do everything you can for them, reward them, provide them incentives, give them the tools to succeed, empower them to do all the right things, and they'll do the same for the customer. And that's how you grow as an entrepreneur or as a CEO. It's that give to others. And what you'll do is you'll get a lot more in return. Look, I tell CEOs, I don't care about revenue in my company. And they look at me like, what? You don't care about revenue? It's the most important thing. I said, I know that. However, what I care about is providing the best quality, the best service, and guess what? The revenue will come. Focus on that, and everything else takes care of itself.
Yeah, so true. Quality and relationships come first, and then the rest will just come as a natural cause of investing in people and investing in quality, right?
I learned a term, it's called giver's gain. So when you give, you'll gain something back. It may not be immediate, may take time, and sometimes you may give and give and give, and nobody ever gives back. Those are the kind of things, the relationships that if you keep giving and they take advantage of you, you just got to stop doing it because there's nothing in return. That's a self-centered person. You're not giving. So when you give, you're going to get stuff back, but don't expect it. That's the key. The more you do, the more you help other people, what you're doing is you're helping them, and it's a feel-good thing for me. And it was a study in my book where when people volunteer and they do other good things for other people, you know what happens? They live longer because they feel good. It's this internal drive when you feel good, because stress on the body wreaks havoc. And if you get rid of that stress by giving and helping and feeling good about what you can do for other people, you're going to feel better. You're going to be less stressful. You're going to sleep better at night. Everybody wins.
Yeah, I love that, because as soon as you stop expecting something in return and being so attached to a monetary outcome, it frees up so much energy, because otherwise all we do is we get bitter and we get resentful, and that's not where we want to go, right?
Right. It's funny. I was driving home from working out today, right? And there was a lady, I didn't even know her. She was walking down the street and she just waved to me. I didn't know who she was. That put a great smile on my face. I go to the grocery store and I tell people, they always ask me, how are you doing today? And I go, terrific. And they jump out of their seat like, what's with this guy? But you know what happens? It puts a smile on somebody's face. And then they ask me, I get this question all the time. How can you be so terrific all the time? And my answer is, well, just some days are just more terrific than others. It's just an attitude. And you help. If I can make people smile on a daily basis and give them a sense of, hey, you're a good person, I value you, then everybody wins from that standpoint. I feel good, they feel good. You just go home happy.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can you share a few simple tips with us, or a few simple things that we all can do today that make a difference in society and business?
Well, one of the things, that's a good point. I just think having a positive attitude, and just, you got to do this one thing at a time, and just realize that this isn't an overnight process. It's a simple mind change. Write down every day one thing you did that put a smile on somebody's face. You may call them up out of the blue and say, I haven't talked to you in a while. I had a lady, I took some blood work, and you know what? She's a doctor, and she FaceTimed me on my phone. Now, who does that, right? I was like, wow, that's just like, that made me feel good that she really was concerned about me as an individual and the blood work, and everything was great. So, but she just, that was just, do something every day and write it down. What one thing you did to put a smile on somebody's face, or what one thing did you did well today that helped somebody? And what one thing is, you can go out for a walk and pick up a piece of plastic and bring it home and throw it out in the garbage. People throw garbage. You know, my question, here's a perfect example. People throw out garbage out their window when they're going down the highway all the time. And I would ask this question, well, would you throw out that garbage and throw it right out in the middle of your living room? No, they wouldn't do that. They'd put it in the waste packet. Why? Because now they can internalize something that would affect them. When they do that, then they give a damn, is what I call it. Once we get outside our domain, we don't have this concern about what it might affect to have on others or what might affect the environment. Think about that every time you do something. Would you do the same thing to yourself or your environment or whatever? That's a key component in this.
I love that example because it's something that I teach my children as well. Because every time we walk to kindergarten or we walk back from kindergarten and we find some, empty bottles lying around or some trash that's someone has just thrown out there, we pick it up and we recycle it or that kind of thing. And
think about what impact that would have on society if everybody was like you, Claudia, and they did all these things and doing all the right things. The society would be so wonderful, and people would engage and they would be positive, and all these things contribute to an improvement in society. Look, I have a big objective. I'm trying to change the mindset. I probably won't live long enough to make a huge impact, but if I can take this momentum and get people to change their mindset, one person at a time, then I think we can really make a difference in society overall. And that's my goal as the give a damn guy, I guess.
Yeah, that's so good. And I'm so happy that I can help you spread this message because it's something that's very close to my heart as well. So with all the success that you have achieved so far, what's the next big tangible goal that you're working towards?
Well, that's a good question. I guess my tangible goal is to try to get everybody in the world to join what I call my give a damn movement. And the way I do that, it's a big objective. Like you can't dream, right?
Yes, dream big.
It's huge. How do I get to, I don't know how many billions of people are in the world, but if people can take what I call the American Accountability Pledge or the International Accountability Pledge, I even have a Congressional Accountability Pledge, that's a story for another day. But they go on to my website at giveadamnbook.com and click on Join the Movement. And I challenge everybody who's listening to this to go to giveadamnbook.com and hit Join the Movement and take the American Accountability Pledge. And basically that pledge that says, I will respect people, I will do kind things, I will do all these things positive, I will have a give a damn attitude, right? And so if they do that, and we can get like millions of people, we have a huge core of people that can really have an impact on other people who may not give a damn, so to speak. And I wear these things, Claudia, these are my give a damn bracelets. And it says, because we all have to be reminded sometimes of, because I forget, everybody forgets. Just the moment, and just like, you got to be reminded, and that's me. And I wear this to continue to remind myself that I got to continue to do better. And I'm a lot better than I was 10 years ago, but everybody has work to do.
Absolutely. That's so good. And I hope that so many people will sign up and join your mission because it's a wonderful thing.
So here's what I'm going to offer to all those people who did that. If they go on my website, giveadamnbook.com, and they join, and the first 5 people do that, I will send them a code to download an Audible version of my book at audible.com. And I'll let that, and they can listen to my book. Doesn't matter where you are in the world because they can download it. I'll have to provide a code. Now, my Audible version of the book will be coming out in about 2 to 3 weeks. I did it personally, and I had Cosby, I think to help me do the introduction. So that'll be out soon. It's already been approved. It's going to retail. The first 5 people to do it, maybe 10 people. I'll just be doing it and I'll send them a Audible code where they can download the book for free.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mark. And thank you so much for this great interview. I really appreciate it, and I love your mission.
Thanks, Claudia. You're terrific. I really appreciate you having me on the show. It's been terrific.
Thank you. Wishing you a wonderful day. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you. You too. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much for listening to the Wired for Success podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, please take a sec to rate and review my show. It would mean the world to me because you would help me reach more entrepreneurs like yourself who would love this show. If you'd like to learn more about creating a widely successful business without sacrificing your health, relationships, or sanity, make sure to stick around and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And if you think, heck yes, I want to listen to each and every one of these amazing episodes, but my day just doesn't have enough hours, well, if that's you, I have something special for you. To help me spread the word about this podcast, I've created a contest and I'm giving away some super cool prizes for those of you who take a sec to subscribe, rate, and review this show. And one of the amazing prizes that you can win is to watch me create my brand new Get Your Life Back Productivity Powerhouse course that teaches entrepreneurs how to win back 1 to 2 hours of precious time each day so that they can do all the things they love. I'll later sell that course for 997 euros, but as a thank you for supporting my podcast launch, you'll get to watch as I create it for free. And just like that, you will have enough time to listen to each and every Wired for Success episode. Woohoo! To find out more about the contest and the other amazing prizes, go to www.wiredforsuccess.solutions/launch-contest. See you next time.